Hey everybody, welcome back around to the blog and grill. I am your host Doug here with your video blog for February 4th, 2015. A great blog planned for you today. No major stories to get to. We will talk some about Josh Gordon. We'll also talk about the Syracuse game last night and what the ACC standings look like now. The blog is on the road today. I am in Lynchburg, Virginia, bringing you this blog here on February 4th. Today is National Signing Day. So I just want to hit on some National Signing Day stuff quickly here, and then we'll move on to my take on the recent developments with the Josh Gordon situation, and then we'll get to a little bit of some Syracuse basketball as well, as the Orange had a big win last night. So let's get into it here. National Signing Day today. The number one recruit has picked his team. I think this is a big pick here, definitely. Byron Coward commits to Auburn. He is a big-time player. He is number one in the ESPN 300. He is a 6'4", 258-pound player. He is likely going to play some defensive end for Auburn, and that is a big pickup for this team. He chooses the Tigers over the Florida Gators, and anytime a player like that picks a team in the same conference over another team in the same conference, it is a big win for that. Also, we have the number two player in the country, the number two recruit, which is Terry Beckner Jr. He selects Missouri. And just giving you a little bit of rundown on this guy, he is considered the Missouri Tigers and has decided to stay with the in-state school. He is a five-star defensive tackle who also visited Florida State, Auburn, and Ohio State. He will be staying home, though, and playing for Mizzou. The big-time running back at Jamabo signs with UCLA. I think this is a big pickup. He's height. So while most of the top high school football players in Texas will pick the Lone Star State, Jamabo has announced he will sign with UCLA. He is the number 28 recruit, the top running back out of Plano, Texas West High School. That is a big pickup for them. And earlier in the day, Jim Mora, who has been recruiting big time for UCLA, also picked up tight end Chris Clark and the number two pocket passer Josh Rosen. So that's something to watch there as National Signing Day continues. And you can follow some of the big time guys on Twitter and check out all things National Signing Day. All right, I want to get to Josh Gordon. Josh Gordon, of course, we know he's had issues with DWIs. He's also had issues with drug use, and he had another offense. So now the NFL has suspended Josh Gordon without pay for a minimum of 1 year for violating the NFL substance abuse policy. This is what the Browns announced on Tuesday. And then also they announced that Johnny Manziel has been placed into rehab. Okay, but let's get to the Josh Gordon situation. ESPN's Adam Schefter reported on the 25th of January that Gordon had failed a league-issued substance abuse test, this time for alcohol. Okay, and the NFL has issued a zero drinking stipulation for Gordon. He's had repeat offenses. And what I've said all throughout this, and I can go through all these details about how he's had issues with drinking, he's had issues with drugs, but all it comes down to is Josh Gordon. This is just a guy who just really needs to focus on himself instead of focusing on football at this point. Football needs to take a back seat to this right now, and Josh Gordon needs to get his life organized before he's ever should step on a football field again. I think the bigger issue right now is his life, and I think he needs to figure out where football rates to him and where his life rates to him, and he needs to figure that out and get that situation resolved before he steps foot back on a football field. So he's been suspended for at least a year. They will reevaluate him at the end of next year. He was scheduled to be paid $1.07 million before for his team suspension, but will not count against the Browns' salary. He signed a 4-year, $5.34 million contract, including a signing bonus. Gordon must forfeit a portion of the signing bonus as a result of the suspension. So that's the least of his issues at this point right now. All right, before we get out of here, I just want to talk a little bit about the Syracuse basketball team and what happened last night. Michael Beneche hits a big game-winning shot late. The Orange escape at home against a very underskilled, I will say, Virginia Tech team. And really, Syracuse is hanging right now in the ACC. They're about to go through a gauntlet of a schedule. But I really like what I've seen from this team. They're currently at 15-7, still tourney bound right now. There's some stuff going on with that as well that we'll probably get to soon. But right now they're still sitting 2 games out of the conference lead right now at 6-3. 15-7 overall. They have the least amount of wins of the top 5 in that conference. And the Orange played well. Didn't play great, but played good enough to get the job done. Rakeem Christmas has still been an animal, averaging 18 and 9. Tyler Roberson has really kicked in some big-time rebounds, and they have some big games coming up. Really, their next 2 games are very winnable at Pitt and at Boston College. I think you have to get both of those games wrapped up, win them, and then get ready for a gauntlet of a schedule where you go home Duke, home Louisville, Pitt at Notre Dame, at Duke, home UVA, and then at NC State. So that's going to be a tough stretch for this team. They're undermanned right now, only 8 scholarship players, so we'll see what happens with this team. But the ACC right now is pretty wide open, especially after Duke took down Virginia the other day. And now, really, it's about a five-team race right now. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll say it's about a 6-team race right now with Duke, Syracuse, North Carolina, Louisville, Notre Dame, and Virginia all vying for the top spot in the conference. And that Syracuse loss to Miami is not looking good right now, as Miami has really struggled since that time. And probably the worst loss on it right now has to be that Clemson loss, as Clemson's sitting at 5-4 in conference play. All right, I'll be back later on in the week. I'm going to try to get back on here Friday to do another one of these. We'll talk some more college hoops. We'll talk NBA. We'll get into some NBA stuff as well. We'll also look at some articles on Grantland and Players Tribune and mmqb.com, as I'll give you my reads of the week on those as well. You can follow me on Twitter at YankeeBaller415. Also check me out on sportsmindednews.com. You can comment, question, subscribe to my page. Thanks for tuning in to the Blog and Grill. I'll be back later on in the week. Have a good rest of your week.